Welcome to Comcast. We are here today to speak about a topic that, if it hasn't touched our lives, certainly will at some time. And we can learn today how to deal with grief in a very positive way. Today we have with us Tom Zuba, who is a grief guide. Tom, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
What we're going to talk about is important and it's serious, and it's something we all at one point in our life, more than one, as in your case, will have to deal with. And your story is incredible. What you've gone through, how you've not only survived but have come to a place of joy is unbelievable. Maybe you could start. I know that your first tragedy was the loss of your 18-month-old daughter in 1990.
Exactly. My 18-month-old daughter, Erin, died very, very suddenly. She was literally in the hospital on a Saturday. They sent us home. We took her back to the hospital on Monday, and Wednesday evening she was dead. So it was very, very, very sudden. And she was our firstborn. So imagine, if you will, my wife and I going back to our Oak Park apartment to an empty home. The way that I describe that is, it was as if someone took a hand grenade and put it on my chest, and the hand grenade exploded, and I was expected to get up and live again. So what we did was what most people did. I have a very clear memory of a friend, a really well-meaning friend, saying, come on, you have to snap to it, put your work clothes on, get back to work, stay busy, keep your mind off of it, just keep rolling. And honestly, I didn't know any better. And that did seem to be the conventional wisdom. Keep busy. Try not to think about it. It being the fact that my beautiful 18-month-old daughter had died suddenly. So my wife and I, very innocently did what we thought we were supposed to do. And that was very, very painful. The way that I describe it, it was adding pain on top of pain on top of pain. It wasn't too long until my wife looked at me and she said, "You have so much anger. You have so much anger. If you don't do something about that, I don't know how this marriage is going to survive." Remarkably, through the help of a great therapist, through the help of a support group, through an incredible amount of reading, we did come to the point where I thought, we're a new normal. We're a new normal again. One of the things that helped us, and this was really contrary to all conventional wisdom, because they, whoever they are, usually say, wait a year before you make any major decisions. And for heaven's sakes, wait a year, at least a year, until you have another child. Well, as I said, Erin was our firstborn, and I loved being a family. I loved that. Don't get me wrong, I loved being married, but I loved being a family. So my mission was to have another baby as soon as we possibly could. And Erin died in July, and that November, on Thanksgiving morning, we found out that Trish was pregnant again. Thanksgiving morning. And remarkably, Erin's due date, or our next baby's due date, was the same day that our daughter had died. I know, which I thought was kind of cool, but my wife was like, no way am I birthing a child on this most painful day. So a year came and went, and on July 24th, our son Rory was born. And that was that Thanksgiving day when we found out that Trish was pregnant, that was a new beginning for us. And certainly the day that Rory was born, that was a new beginning for us as well. And then a couple of years later, our son Sean was born. And when Sean was born, I remember thinking, this is kind of boring. This is kind of ordinary. This is exactly where I want to be. You know, no drama.
Right.
No, it's like, oh, we've made it. And I really felt like we did.
So there you were, your happy, wonderful family, the four of you. And then come 1999, and you experienced another loss.
We did. This is really interesting. A couple of days before Christmas of '98, we were at my sister-in-law's tree trimming party, and my wife, Trish, turned to me, and she said, there's 2 songs I want at my funeral. Go Lassie Go and O Come Emmanuel. And she said, I know O Come Emmanuel is a Christmas song, but even if I die in the summer, I want that. And I said to her, what I have always said to her is, I'm going first. I have no idea why you're telling me these things. Tell someone who's going to be here. And believe it or not, 2 days after Christmas, she turned to me when we were driving in the car and she said, I'm serious. There's 2 songs I want at my funeral. Go Lassie Go and O Come Emmanuel. And 2 nights later, I'm calling 911 because Trish is grasping her heart, you know, wondering if she's having a heart attack or not. And after a 52-hour hospital stay, she died. Oh, so my wife, Trish, died on New Year's Day, 1999. The next day would have been our daughter Erin's 10th birthday, which I thought was really, really interesting. New Year's Day 1999, I'm telling my 3-year-old son Sean and my 7-year-old son Rory that their mother died. I talked about the hand grenade going off after Erin died. This was so unbelievable to me. It was so catastrophically, earth-shattering, unbelievable that, believe it or not, it really, really got my attention. It really, really did. And I remember thinking, when Erin died, I did not believe there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I really, really didn't. But as I looked back, there was indeed a light at the end of the tunnel. So with the journey through grief that I took after Trish died, because of the fact that I knew there was that light at the end of the tunnel, I knew I would survive. I had done it before. I knew I could do it. So that journey was different. I tried to feel my feelings more. I didn't try to keep as busy as I possibly could. I tried not to isolate myself. I really tried to work on, you know, what do I need to do to heal myself? And believe it or not, I came to that place again where I loved being a single dad. I loved being a father to Rory and Sean. And what I would say to them is, our life is different now, but different doesn't have to mean bad or less than. It's different. It's really, really different. And when my wife died, really gave me the opportunity to question a lot of things. And one of the things I decided is I was going to tell the kids that, yes, Mommy is in heaven, but heaven is right here. You know, Mommy is a breath away from you. Mommy is not somewhere really far away. You know, we don't look up to heaven in my family. Heaven is right here. So it was remarkable, the things that I questioned and then the things that I learned. I want to share one other thing, and this was huge. My son Rory, like I said, was 7, and he would say to me, Daddy, every night when I go to bed, the ceiling opens up and a white light comes down. They were in bunk beds. And he said, the white light surrounds me in my bed, goes through the bunk, and then surrounds Sean. And I said to him, where is the light coming from? Well, where do you think, Daddy? Mommy's sending the light. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, there was another time when Rory said to me, Dad, I really think that maybe the womb is the portal of the soul. This child was 7 years old. I got my paper. I think you're right. Let me write that down. So it was amazing the things that happened in our life. And I think that they happen in everyone's life if we're listening, if we're looking. But so often we're so intent on keeping busy and not feeling anything. Because, and I hear this all the time, people say to me, but Tom, if I feel, then I'm going to cry. And in 2012, people still need to be taught that a really appropriate, healthy response when someone dies is crying. It's really, really healthy. We don't need to apologize for crying, but people are still afraid to cry.
Well, it sounds like you really went through some transforming from the first death to the second. And here you are with your newly configured family, and you're hit once again.
It was amazing. It was really amazing. And in retrospect, this is really, really hard for people to comprehend. But I truly, truly believe that life prepares us for life. I really, really believe that. And people will throw out all kinds of examples to me. Well, how could life prepare me for this? It's one of those things that life either does prepare us or it doesn't prepare us. It's not that life prepares us some of the time, life prepares us all of the time. Are we paying attention or not? And a couple of years after Trish died, I really, really wanted to get away from Oak Park, from where we were living. It was a very conscious decision on my part. It was too sad, to be honest with you. There were too many sad memories. And I had lived in California before, so I really wanted to go back to California to heal.
Sure.
Really to heal. Mm-hmm. So we moved to Northern California, and the sun and the flowers and the change of scenery in the ocean, it was incredible. We were there for 2 years. But then I just intuitively felt like it was time to come back. And Rockford is my home. Mm-hmm. Rockford is where all of my family is. Mm-hmm. And we moved back. And the kids really, really acclimated quickly. It took me about a year, I'd say, to get adjusted to the new life here. And after we had been here 2 years, my son Rory, who was in the gifted program at the time at King, went to seventh grade for 2 days. And then the night after his second day, I heard something in his bedroom. I wasn't really sure what it was. And like a lot of parents, I was hoping it was just like a branch on the window, or I wasn't sure. But something very, very divine kind of pushed me into his room. I have no memory of getting there, but all of a sudden I'm in my son Rory's room, and he's either having a seizure or a stroke. I wasn't sure. So once again, I'm in that situation where I'm calling 911. I'm in the ambulance. Someone in my family is sick. And it was about a 6-month journey in and out of hospitals, tests and more tests, diagnoses and misdiagnoses. But in November of 2004, we found out that Rory had a very aggressive brain cancer that was terminal, was absolutely terminal. And on February 22nd of 2005, he died. And what was amazing to me is it wasn't my first go-round. So I was very, very present. I remember I took in all of the information. I made the very best decisions I could. Western science said, we want to prescribe chemo and radiation, and that will buy him a couple of weeks. And I thought, I can't do this to my child. I want to see what else is out there. So we flew to Seattle, we flew to Houston. Every alternative Eastern technique. We tried it. We absolutely tried it. And as I said, he died anyway. But the blessing for me, and this is a huge, huge blessing, is I don't feel guilty about his death. I would have done anything. I tried everything I possibly could. But as a human being, I was not able to save my son. And the conclusion that I came to, which drastically changes everything for me, is that my son died at the perfect time in the perfect way. And earlier I said that life prepares us for life all of the time. Well, and this is my belief, but because I believe that Rory died at the right time in the right way, I believe that that's true for everyone, for everyone. And people have said to me, well, what about Sean? You know, I have a 17-year-old son, Sean. How can you let him out of the house? You know, the world is such a scary place and danger lurks at every corner. But I have this real sense of peace knowing I'm not going to be able to save him. When it is his time to go, he will go, regardless of what I do. So that's a huge, huge blessing for me. And I also want to add that in the weeks and months and years after Rory died, because of the fact that I had been through it twice before, not only did I know there was a light at the end of the tunnel, but that tunnel was lit. And I was a very, very active participant. I knew I could heal. And I had to figure out what very, very concrete, deliberate steps can I take to heal my life. And I believe that what I've discovered is really a new way of doing grief. Because the old way, you know, what I tried to do after our daughter Erin died, and what most people kind of by default do, it doesn't work. Like I said, it just adds pain on top of pain on top of pain.
Well, what I believe from having read your story and spoken with you and listened to you now again, what you've done, in essence, is exactly that. You've taken the old way of grief, and through your teachings and workshops and speaking engagements and writings, you really have a path for people to follow so that they don't have to go what you went through the first time, so that they can do a new way of grief. And I just can't thank you enough for everyone, for you doing that, because this is something that is so traumatic in a person's life, and yet to hear your story and to know that there is a light and the tunnel can be open, and people, it doesn't diminish what they're going through, certainly, because people have to experience that and feel it. But what I'd really like you to do now, if you would, Tom, is explain to our audience the steps with that and what you're doing, what people can do, and then we'll talk. I know you're going to be doing another workshop, and one is for a month, and I'm really excited about you sharing that, because I think this can help people in such immense ways so that they can continue truly living their life rather than existing and almost being dead inside with the physical body still moving.
You're absolutely right, Joan. I have met so many people that not only has someone that they love died, but they are in the process of dying themselves. Everything that we believe has to be questioned. It really, really does. And one of the things we have to think about is it possible that this death didn't happen to me? Is it possible that it actually happened for me? That's revolutionary. My wife died for me. My 13-year-old son, Rory, died from brain cancer for me. But what I believe is that these deaths give me the opportunity to become everything that I was born to become. But make no mistake about it, it is hard, hard, hard work. I will not minimize anyone's pain. The reason that I so desperately search for a new way to do it is because the pain was excruciating. I had to figure out a way to claw myself out of that deep, deep, dark, dark pit. I couldn't stay there. I absolutely couldn't stay there. And one of the things that I learned was, I am not my feelings. I am not my feelings. But when someone I love dies, I experience grief. Actually, when I experience any kind of a loss. I define grief as the internal automatic response to loss. I lose something, I experience grief. And grief expresses itself in hundreds and hundreds of ways. And we're surprised and we're confused. And what most people do is they fight their feelings. They do whatever they can possibly do to make sure that they feel nothing. They repress, they deny, they pretend. It's building up, it's building up, it's building up. What I encourage people to do and what I teach people to do, and it's amazing that we have to be taught this. We've forgotten how to mourn. We have absolutely forgotten how to mourn. But I define mourning as taking the grief, taking what's inside of us and getting it up and getting it out. And mourning is a path to healing. And when I say to folks, you are not your anger, you are not your sadness, you are not your despair. Each of those feelings and emotions has a beginning, it has a middle, and an end. It's an energy that runs through our body. And if you can observe it, and if you can allow it and honor it, it's not going to stick around. It'll just surge right through you. Now, it will be replaced by something else, but people can absolutely learn to observe their feelings. And when we can observe our feelings with kindness and with gentleness and with compassion, that's who we become. I can be a kind, loving, generous person that has the feeling of anger surging through me right now. I'm aware of it. I'm not going to act on it. I'm not going to cling to it. I'm going to allow it. That's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work because it requires us to be very, very present in our life. But it is a path to healing. I talk with people when I suggest that they could heal. That suggestion in itself is revolutionary to them. I mean, so many people think that when someone I love dies, it's my own death sentence. You know, I'm doomed. I will never, ever be happy again. It's not true. It's not true at all. So one of the things that I talk about is the importance of feeling your feelings. Another thing that really, really surprises people is when I say we will always have a relationship with the people we love that have died. We will always be in relationship with them. And we get to decide, is that a healthy relationship or is that an unhealthy relationship? And for many of us that aren't really thinking about the relationship or haven't thought about it in a long time, it's an unhealthy relationship. And it requires an incredible amount of energy and effort to suppress, and to keep that down. I have found that when people find a connection to their parent who died, to their spouse, to their child, when they find that connection, something happens in their eyes, you can see it, and there's a sparkle of hope. It's a step on the path to healing. And as I was driving here, I looked up and I saw this red-tailed hawk. And I saw this huge red-tailed hawk made this huge circle right in front of me. And now this is my belief. To me, that's, God or the universe or whatever you want to call it. It's the divine saying, you're moving in the right direction, Tom. All is well. You're going to have a great show. You're going to touch a lot of people. Just keep on keeping on. An example of one of the ways that I'm very connected with my son Rory is Rory died on February 22nd, 2/2/2. And about, I don't know, maybe 10 days after he died, I woke up in the middle of the night. It was when I was wearing a watch. Checked my watch. It was 2/2/2. I know. I'm like, oh. About maybe 4 or 5 days later, I woke up again. Okay, 2/2/2. I get it, Rory. This is how we're going to communicate with each other. And I cannot tell you how many times, almost on a daily basis, I see the number 2/2/2. One of the most amazing examples is Rory died in February. That New Year's Eve, I took Sean to Disney World because I kind of wanted to get out of town. And you know how huge that place is. When I was given our room key, we had room number 2/2/2. Yeah. And that's very, very common. So many people I encounter say, for me, it's a butterfly. For me, it's a hummingbird. It's a cardinal. It's the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4. Those kinds of things make a huge difference.
Sure. Oh my goodness.
We all want to know that our loved ones are safe and happy, yet when we receive signs, so often we just, oh no, it couldn't be, it couldn't be. It is.
It is.
It is.
Oh, wonderful. Tell us now, for this, tell us a little bit about the workshop that you're going to be doing.
Okay, I'm doing a 4-week series in my home, and I'm calling it Permission to Mourn. Permission to Mourn. And literally, we are going to create a space where people, and I've done this before, where people feel safe enough to kind of let their guard down and share what they're really feeling, share what they've really, really gone through. And as I said, that's mourning when we get it up and when we get it out. And unfortunately, the society we live in is, after a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, most people don't want to hear about it anymore. The question is, have you moved on? Have you moved on? So with a lot of thought, with a lot of intention, I'm going to create this safe space where we can be who we are, where we can feel what we need to feel, with the promise and with the intention that this is healing. And Joan, there's the saying, and a lot of the listeners will recognize it, when 2 or more are gathered. Mm-hmm. You can finish it however you want, mm-hmm. but I've seen it over and over again. There's a healing power of the group, mm-hmm. that energy shift and people come in tight and their shoulders are slumped over and there's a sadness on their face. Mm-hmm. And something happens. They carry themselves different. The twinkle returns to their eye, and a burden has lifted. So it's 4 Tuesday nights in October. But to accommodate people's schedules, I'm also going to do it one Saturday in October. I believe it's October 20th. From 9 to 3:30. We're going to cover the same material, the same intention, the same goal. And I'd love to have, if what I'm saying resonates with folks, I'd love for them to work with me, work with us.
Well, I'm so happy that you came in to share this information. It's just, for something that is life-changing in a person's life, to be able to guide them, direct them. There's one other question I'd like to quickly ask.
Yes.
And that is, when a person dies, whether it's a friend, a family member, and whoever it would be, to help console the person who's going through the grief, what is the best thing to say when you go to a visitation and the person is there? You hear all sorts of things, they're in a better place. The angels, God needed another angel and all these things. What should we do? What should we say to be supportive?
For me personally, when someone says, I'm really sorry, and don't hesitate to cry. I kind of gravitated towards the people that were crying because I thought, you understand what has happened. There's no need to be stoic or to be strong. So I'm sorry. If you're close enough to the person, I love you. I will be here for you. You can be really, really honest. I'm so sorry. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Because really, at that point, there isn't anything to say. Sure. But as you said, Joan, there are things, and we have all heard them, and I probably have said them myself. There are things that sting and that hurt. Not intentionally, surely, but I would stick to, I love you, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say, I will be there for you. And then, an incredible gift you can give that person is to accompany them. Just accompany them. You can't fix them, you don't need to cheer them up, but almost anything is bearable if there's another person by your side. So if you can accompany them on their journey and let them know that you are there with them, that's a huge gift. That's a huge, huge, huge gift. And one of the things that I often suggest is say, tell me what it's like to be you today.
Oh, wow.
What is it like to be you today? And then shut up and listen. You know, give them the opportunity. Don't preach, don't try to fix them. You can try to understand what they're saying. It always used to bother me. It still bothers me when someone comes up to me and says, I understand. I understand. You don't really, and I don't really understand what you're going through, but boy, I'm going to do my best to try.
Well, Tom, thank you.
You're welcome.
This has really been enlightening.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Oh, and thanks to all of you for tuning in. Tommy, as you heard, has some incredible information to share. And if you are going through grief right now, go to tomzuba.com and think about taking his workshop. I think it could be a secondary life changer for you so that you can live your life more fully and come out of your grief and your mourning. Until next time, this is Comcast, connecting with our community.